And that's the worst part about working with Riley. He's not prepared. Obviously, he's not showing up on time.
A few episodes ago, we talked about turning this into a two-man show. That's what the people want. That's
all we're seeing in the comments.
On social media.
Good Chill Hunting is a two-person podcast.
I think Riley just inscribed his own tombstone with this one.
What the heck, guys? We talked about costumes. This is our Christopher Nolan episode, and we're not doing costumes. You are supposed to be Oppenheimer, and you are supposed to be Leonard from Memento. Are you kidding me right now?
I thought that was next week.
That's next week.
What?
Yeah. This week we're talking about our favorite Pixar movies.
I didn't watch any Pixar movies. We're doing our Christopher Nolan episode.
What did I say about not being prepared?
I have the rest of my costume in my trunk. I'm like all ready to go.
How did you get those scars?
My father, he was a drinker.
My father was a contractor.
And he liked Burger King. But I put a lot of time into this.
Do you
guys
want to watch the world burn?
I think
we want to watch that burn off your face.
Kind of over there, yeah.
Can we do like some magic, like editing? You know, like.
No,
can't fix everything in post.
No.
Can't fix whatever's going on over there.
And there's a lot going on.
Hi.
Do you have the rest of the nurse costume? That's the only thing that's going to sell this for me.
It's in the truck.
Okay. Well, I guess we can do Christopher Nolan ranking this week.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose.
Yippee! And we're back. Welcome to the Good Chill Hunting Podcast. How you like them apples? So, like we talked about before, this is our Christopher Nolan episode.
Our what we're watching, that segment, all we've been watching this week is Christopher Nolan movies. So we are going to forego that segment this week.
Yeah.
You're going to hear our thoughts and opinions.
Because we'll talk about them ad nauseum here in a little bit.
But before we do that, we're going to do our quick five. And guess who's on the hot seat this week? Noah.
What?
Got 5 questions, rapid fire. Here we go. Question number 1 for Noah. What is the most movies you've watched in a single day?
I remember when I first created my Letterboxd account, I watched 3 movies in one day. One of them was TMNT, like the 2007, and one of them was Year One, starring Jack Black and Michael Cera. And I can't remember the third movie.
Didn't you give that like a half star?
Yeah, I think I gave it 1. That was a stupid movie.
Do you like the TMNT movie?
I remember when I watched it that day, I had thought that it didn't age super well, but I was being, I think, a little hypercritical. It's fun.
There's enough TMNT movies out there that we could do a TMNT movie ranking sometime.
Maybe. Question number 2. On death row, you have your last meal. What is it?
Oh, I think we go with my mom's chicken and noodles over mashed potatoes.
What are you having for drink and dessert?
Ooh.
Drink, maybe. I mean, I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. We'll go with some Barks root beer.
Nice.
And for dessert, let's do lemon cake.
Lemon cake.
Is that like homemade?
I like the box mix.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Noah's like, for my drink, I'll do water. Don't want to have an upset stomach on death row when I'm getting
No
electrocuted.
lemon too either.
Yeah.
No lemon.
Hold the lemon. All right. Question number 3. What is your marathon PR?
My marathon PR is 3 hours and I think 34 minutes and some change, which I was pretty happy with. I run 2 marathons. I want to run a third one at some point in my life, but I'm pretty happy with that time.
It's pretty respectable.
Question number 4. You have a lot of favorite games. You have to choose one to be made into a TV show or a movie. Which one do you pick?
That is a good question. I think a game that I've had put a lot of time into, and a game that has a lot of interesting things to say, would probably be The Binding of Isaac.
I know another person would like that.
Someone else at this table, maybe.
Yeah.
Riley is a well-known closeted fan of Binding of Isaac.
There's a lot of complexities to that game. I think you could turn it into a show and make it funny but impactful.
I feel like it would have to be a cartoon, like almost like an Adult Swim, sort of like Smiling Friends. You could get away with that in some capacity.
Yeah, or like the kind of like the Cuphead show that they came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Mass Effect.
that's another good answer.
I
think, but the thing is about Mass Effect is that story has been told, and it's been told well. I don't know how a TV show would do it differently.
Yeah, fair enough. Question number 5. If Glenn Powell was sitting across from you right now at this very table, what would you say to him? People want to know.
I want to know.
2024 has been a good year for you, huh? Sure has. Twisters,
Hitman.
Anyone but you, or that was last year?
Top Gun Maverick, that was a couple years ago, but you're kind of at the top of your game.
Hey,
care to share
hey-
some of that money?
Hey, people have been saying you've been talking crap about me. About the physiognomy of my face.
What?
A lot of girls love me.
I got Hollywood wrapped around my finger. Who
Glenn,
are you?
Glenn, I don't know what you're talking about.
You are dirt beneath my boot.
You're just a nurse. I'm a movie star.
Oh, so it's personal then. I hope you never get hurt on set or anything.
Wow. That's low. Even for you.
Even for a little nurse like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has been Quick 5 with our very own Noah.
What
Fun.
a great segment. Now, to the topic of the hour. Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, a man who needs no introduction, especially if you are any sort of cinephile. You will know that his movies are not only very widely received publicly, they get butts and seats in the theaters. People love going to his movies, but they also receive a lot of critical acclaim.
He, some would say, single-handedly kept the movie theater industry afloat during the pandemic.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken on the superhero genre, sci-fi genre, history.
Sci-fi again. He does a lot of sci-fi, actually.
Does a lot of sci-fi.
What can this man not do?
I was looking at his IMDb page.
Comedy.
Some of his original shorts, his short films, got pretty bad reviews. So maybe stick to feature length. Stick to 3-hour movies, and he'll be good.
That make you think a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes they make you really confused in a bad way.
Yeah. So I think we're just gonna get into. Eventually, we're gonna rank. We each are going to provide our own individualized ranking of Christopher Nolan's filmography. But in order to get to that point, we're going to just discuss every movie individually. There are 12 feature-length films that he's done. Some of us have seen all of. Riley has seen all of them. Noah and I have
Just one
handful
one
that we
I have
haven't
not
seen. But anyway, we're just going to go one by one in order of their release and just gush on one of our favorite directors.
So starting in 1998, Christopher Nolan came out with a black and white film called Following.
I've not seen that, so this is the first one where I don't got a dog in the fight.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, me and Noah watched this once in college. Did not have a very fond time with it. I don't remember a whole lot from it. I just remember it being black and white.
Yeah, I think it had, if I'm remembering correctly, because this was like 5 years ago that we watched it. Kind of like halfway through, there's like a time like jump or skip, and then we're like seeing the series of events from a different POV, which is something that it's kind of like Christopher Nolan-esque. So I feel like the film definitely had his like signature on it, but it was maybe a little too convoluted for its own good, and it was his first feature-length film.
It was really short. The synopsis is: Bill, an idle, unemployed, inspiring writer, walks the crowded streets of London following randomly chosen strangers. A seemingly innocent entertainment that becomes dangerous when he crosses paths with a mysterious character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 60 minutes or just a little over an hour.
Yeah, it's like...
I feel like it almost comes across, and I don't know if this is going to sound like derogatory, but it almost comes across like a student film.
Yeah, I that definitely Fallen gives me that feel that it feels like a student film,
like kind of trying too hard.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of students' films. I don't know if this is kind of a bad take, but they're like, oh, we're gonna just do black and white to make it look artistic,
Stylistic. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have a lot to say on it other than it was a starting point for him, and it, for the most part, just gets better from there.
And you gotta appreciate where you come from. So I think we wouldn't have him, Christopher Nolan, the director we all know and love, if it wasn't for where you started from.
Right.
True. Also, I feel like it's worth mentioning what led us to do this ranking. I know we talked about we love Christopher Nolan, but there's another reason why we're doing a Christopher Nolan ranking, and another reason that you guys watched the following 5 years ago.
You see, as you might know, the Good Chill Hunting podcast is not me and Riley's first movie podcast.
We've taken jabs at the number of podcast episodes Riley's done.
I've done
in the past, because
if you go back in time, you might have heard of a little podcast called The Other Guys Podcast, or you might not have heard of it because we came up. I think we released 2 episodes.
Yep, I think we recorded 3.
Recorded 3. The third one never.
The part of that lore is that I was editing, or I edited a few episodes. I wasn't in it because I wasn't local to these guys at the time.
You were in one episode, weren't you?
I was in one episode.
Yeah.
I edited it, and you were like, let's not release that one. Let's save it as like a lost episode to premiere on like Patreon or something. And I'm like, why am I here right now?
See, we gotta appreciate where we came from.
Exactly. No, but
so anyway, the third episode of the Other Guys podcast was going to be ranking every Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, so
we did our homework back in 2019 and watched up to that point all of Christopher Nolan's movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why Riley and I watched it back then in college.
And that's why it's important that you finish what you started.
Yep.
Yeah,
we're here now.
It's coming full circle, which is kind of surreal, I guess.
But anyway,
and that leads us to our second movie. So in 2000, Christopher Nolan came out with his second movie called Memento, and Memento is about Leonard Shelby is tracking down the man who raped and murdered his wife. The difficulty of locating his wife's killer, however, is compounded by the fact that he suffers from a rare, untreatable form of short-term memory loss. Although he can recall details of life before his accident, Leonard cannot remember what happened 15 minutes ago, where he's going, or why. And just to let you know, we will be spoiling Christopher Nolan movies going forward, so if you haven't seen those movies, you are warned.
With that, Memento is a fantastic movie.
It's a good movie. The way he is able to tell a story backwards with having the climax of the story be the beginning is very impressive. And it is one that you probably want to watch a couple times, but I feel like even on the first viewing, like, you get to the end and you're like, oh.
Yeah. I just feel like Christopher Nolan makes smart movies for that you, not that you don't have to be thinking in 5 dimensions to understand his movies. Like, if you just pay attention, you'll be able to follow along. But at the same time, you're just like, holy cow, like, I can't believe he did that. And I followed along the whole time. I feel like some movies are better than others. I would say some of his more recent films are.
Memento is certainly one that deserves 2 or even 3 watches, I think, to get the full appreciation.
I think you could say that about a couple of his other movies too.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think Guy Pearce does a really excellent job in this movie. I think he is just a really compelling character, and he, I don't know, you kind of get on his side. You see him as this kind of like an underdog, just people just don't trust him, or they think he's, a sham because of his memory stuff, but he
or they use him, like the hotel guy made him, give him 2 rooms to, because he can't make new memories, so people will use him, and then you start to see more and more throughout the movie of how, like, people are using him.
Yeah, people who you think are one person are really someone else. Yeah,
because at the start you think Carrie Ann Moss's character, she's like on his side, like helping him out.
Right.
But then at the end you see, like, she's not. She's actually using him because she thinks.
And vice versa for
Teddy.
Teddy, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because you realize that the suit he's wearing in the car, because they like, Teddy alludes like, how do you think you got that car? Like, where'd you get that suit? And it's because he kills Carrie-Anne Moss's boyfriend.
Right.
And then she so it just, the movie just unravels more and more, and you just start to connect the dots. Like at the start, you might be like, "Oh, this movie's okay," but I think as you go on and more, the movie just becomes better and better, and you're like,
I would say the movie's. I felt like the opening credits where he's just holding. It's literally just the names.
Yeah.
And he's holding the Polaroid, and you just see this image of a body that he's just killed, or someone that just killed, and then you see it, and he shakes it, and you don't really get anything from that. He holds it back up. Image looks a little bit distorted, and then he shakes it again, and you realize, oh, this is moving in reverse because the picture is getting more and more undeveloped. And so I think just immediately the whole first 5 minutes or however long it is in reverse. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then and I think it just kind of keeps that as the movie goes on, and you just kind of get reveal after reveal.
The reveal at the very end that he's literally like his own worst enemy, and that he's creating this cycle to give himself a purpose is like, oh, you're not like a victim here. You're literally creating this whole goose chase for yourself to give yourself a reason to like give yourself purpose in life.
Yeah.
I really appreciate also like, because Christopher Nolan uses black and white in this movie, which I think he does it well in this movie, and he will use that same tactic in a movie down the line. But I really like the story of, is it Sydney, the guy who we think
shoot, what is his name? Jenkins. Sammy.
We like, I really like the story of Sammy, and then you realize that's actually Guy Pearce. So
yeah, it's a great. I mean, especially for his sophomore film coming off of the following, which you guys said is like, it's all right, but I think like Memento is a crazy for a still a beginner filmmaker is a huge achievement. But it still feels smaller scale, pretty small cast, pretty small scope of stuff, but it still accomplishes so much. So it's very impressive. Very great movie. Highly rewatchable.
Yeah, go watch it.
Very good.
Which his next film is Insomnia, which I hear is a foreign film that got remade American. I think it was like Norwegian. So I think this is like one of the movies that Christopher Nolan did not write.
Okay.
So
that's important.
Insomnia came out in 2002, and it is about two Los Angeles homicide detectives are dispatched to a northern town where the sun doesn't set to investigate the a murder of a local teen. I can't pronounce that word.
Is it methodology?
Sort of.
Anyway, it
so,
doesn't matter.
But they go to Alaska. The sun doesn't set, but they're investigating the murder of a local teen.
And it's very just okay.
I've not seen it. This was the other film I had not seen.
And this is also one that I watched 5 years ago.
I watched this movie this past week, and I'm with Noah. This movie's just really okay. Doesn't feel like a Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of like, I feel like one of its draws is like, oh, Robin Williams is in this and he's the villain.
And everyone loves Al Pacino, which I think he's good in it. I've never seen enough Al Pacino movies to be like, man, I love Al Pacino.
If anything, I've seen him in Heat, and I really didn't like him in that movie, so I'm not a big Al Pacino fan.
Yeah, we're contrarian, where we don't like Heat, where most people say like that's like a Heat. Top 10 movie of all time.
Yeah, not a fan at all.
Yeah,
anyway.
Which is funny. For my review from 5 years ago, I had, and this is maybe not a super informed thing to say, but I said that Insomnia felt more like a Michael Mann film than a Christopher Nolan one.
Which he directed Heat.
Right. Yeah, because it's like a, I don't know, cops and robbers sort of thing, as opposed to any element of science fiction.
Yeah.
Or
Or I mean, even just like
Time.
playing with time or,
Yeah,
or how the story unfolds.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward in its events.
Which I think you could have done with this movie because Al Pacino has insomnia. I feel like you could have had that aspect of like you could start to like play with the things you see, which I think they kind of do, but I don't think they go too far. And I think that's where the movie kind of lacks is the mystery of it. I wish there was more of a mystery. They kind of like reveal something halfway through, and then kind of feels sort of the lines of like Knives Out, but not as good with the reveal. And I'm just not a fan of where they go. Since you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. But
Appreciate it.
yeah, I mean, I think Al Pacino, Robin Williams is good, but honestly, it's just a middle of the road movie.
Honestly, it's Christopher Nolan wise, it's bottom tier.
Give us your best Al Pacino impression.
Hooah! She's got I'm not gonna say that.
She's got a great Dunkachino.
I just feel like you guys do an Adam Sandler impression and you'll pretty much get to Al Pacino. Come on, Kevin James. We got to star in this raunchy comedy.
We got to make a movie with all our friends.
All right. So that's
cool.
Insomnia.
Yeah, moving on.
So Christopher Nolan goes to the DC realm with Batman Begins in 2005. So driven by tragedy, billionaire Bruce Wayne dedicates his life to uncovering and defeating the corruption that plagues his home, Gotham City. Unable to work within the system, he instead creates a new identity, a symbol of fear for the criminal underworld as the Batman.
I think Batman Begins is also middle of the road. Christopher Nolan, and I think that might be a controversial take for this table.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I would disagree with that. I would rank it higher than Dark Knight Rises.
Well,
It's been a while since I've seen
would
that
as
one as well, but I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's the best movie, but I was like, this is a good movie.
I think it's one of the best superhero origin movies. That along with like Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I think it is a great origin. It makes you love Batman. I think Christian Bale I think this is the best Batman he's in the trilogy, but I also really think the movie does well of depicting Bruce Wayne as the billionaire, and that Bruce Wayne is his mask. I think that movie does a really good job. I think it has a lot of good lines. Like, it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you. I think I really enjoy Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow. I think Michael Caine's Alfred's fantastic. You can't beat Michael Caine as Alfred. And the movie, I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's really good. Like I love Batman Begins, and I know some people would agree, some people would disagree.
I still think it's good. I just would rather watch other movies. I mean, yeah, I like it. I like Matt Reeves' The Batman more than I like the Nolan Batmans.
Like all of them?
I would rather watch The Batman than The Dark Knight. We're losing Riley.
Well, honestly, I've seen The Dark Knight so many times, which we'll talk about more later. I do think the Batman is rising the ranks as like one of the best Batman.
It's hard
films.
to compare a single movie to a trilogy. I say like,
Right.
Yeah.
And the Nolan Batman trilogy, I think they describe it as a more grounded version of Batman.
Yeah.
There's not, which with as much sci-fi as Christopher Nolan does, these movies are pretty stuck in the realm of reality. So you don't have the Batman villains that you see in like the comic books, or it's all like this could actually happen in New York City or Detroit or whatever.
Which I do like that aspect of that, but it makes you appreciate like other iterations of the Batman, like Batman Arkham Origins, Arkham City, Asylum, those games, the TV shows that have that kind of like mystical element to it. For what they are, though, I still think it's a great origin story of the Batman. I have a lot of fun with it. I think it's a good story and really shows just that Christopher Nolan could take any like property and make it good. I think so. I think Batman Begins stands atop as some of the best superhero movies we have seen.
What's
Like-
one
like top
property?
10?
What's one property that Christopher Nolan could not make into a good movie?
My Little Pony series. Couldn't do it.
He would crush it.
Time traveling ponies.
So
Is Batman Begins top 10 superhero movies?
it would be close. At least top 20.
Well, how many superhero movies are there? There's
A
a
lot.
But anyway, yeah, it's I need to rewatch the trilogy to have more of an opinion, but like in my memory, it's a solid movie. Give it its credit.
And then Christian Bale, he switches roles from Christian Bale from Bruce Wayne to The Prestige. He goes to The Prestige. I don't remember his name.
He becomes the Prestige.
Mr. Prestige, Mr. Worldwide.
I don't remember his name in the movie, but in 2006, a year after The Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan comes out with The Prestige, a mysterious story of two magicians whose intense rivalry leads them on a lifelong battle of supremacy, full of obsession, deceit, and jealousy with dangerous and deadly consequences. And this stars Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman.
Yep, I just rewatched this one. It's this is like top tier Nolan work.
Top tier, for me as well.
Again, we're talking about performances. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. We talked about Hugh Jackman, his performances in Deadpool and Wolverine episode. The man acts in this movie. This is that's top performances.
I love the twist at the end.
The twist is like so well executed, and I was thinking, because I rewatched it this week. I was thinking maybe the movie won't hit as hard a second time around because you kind of know the twist, but I don't think so. I think it hits.
It's better when you know the twist because you're like interesting.
Yeah,
didn't catch that before.
Right. And this film also, it does have some sci-fi elements, but it time jumps as well. Like the first scene in the movie is the climactic scene, so they play it, and then you jump back in time, and then you eventually come back to the scene with more context, and that's what Nolan does best. Is gives you one impression, so that ropes you in, and then kind of fleshes it out, and you're like, oh, this initial scene that I had such a strong reaction to, it's not what I thought it was. There's more to understand.
Entirely different context.
And I think this movie is just a prime example of that.
Do you think this movie has one top 5 best twist in a movie?
Top 5 favorite for sure.
I think it's
the whole movie. You and Hugh Jackman are trying to figure out, how does Christian Bale do his act?
The transported man.
Yeah, we don't know, and Hugh Jackman is just becomes obsessed with it, and to kind of learn alongside him, it's just who would have guessed?
I would say, but so that is exciting, but then also on a rewatch, if you remember, in the first act, Michael Caine has Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale go to this magic performance from this other person, and he's figure out how he does the trick, and then I'll give you guys your own act. And Christian Bale's just well, that's how he does it. He convinces people that he's crippled over this other magician, and he's just dedicated to his craft, even behind the scenes, even when no one's watching, he's acting, he's in his role. And so you hear Christian Bale's admiration of that, but then it turns out that's what he's doing the whole movie, because it's him and his brother sharing.
Because he's a
twin
triplet. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's just you even catch that of him just saying to be a good magician, you just have to be totally immersed in your role, and you find out at the end he is doing that his whole life. His brother chops off.
They're doing that.
They're doing it.
Even with the wife.
Yeah, he's I love you, but not today.
Yeah, his wife's they share a wife. One of them loses fingers, so the other one chops off his fingers.
All for a good performance.
Yeah, so I'm just
and it drives Hugh Jackman mad.
Drives him bonkers. Drives him to David Bowie, right? Isn't he Nikola Tesla?
I am Nikola Tesla. I just don't know if he does a great Nikola Tesla impression in that movie.
Trying to play footsie with you.
It's okay.
Should I keep doing it?
No.
I think just the idea of people love a good magic act, but I'd say like people almost love even more like knowing how it's done. So to do that, to turn that into a movie and to do it as well as Nolan did it is why this movie is so memorable.
And I think just Nolan casts great actors in roles, and
Yeah. I love the setting of it too. The
Turn of the century.
1880s, 1890s. Yeah. It's it's just good storytelling, good setting, good everything.
and that's the Prestige. Going back to the superhero world, Christopher Nolan in 2008 comes out with The Dark Knight, and it starts with Batman raises the stakes in a war on crime with the help of Lieutenant Jim Gordon and District Attorney Harvey Dent. Batman sets out to dismantle the remaining criminal organizations that plague the streets. The partnership proves to be effective, but they soon find themselves prey to the reign of chaos unleashed by a rising criminal mastermind known to the terrified citizens of Gotham as the Joker, which you kind of saw a glimpse of him earlier in the episode. So,
Yeah, and we're sorry about that.
so The Dark Knight. A lot of people love this movie. Some people say it's the best superhero movie ever made. What is your guys' thoughts on The Dark Knight?
I think Heath Ledger's Joker is a decade, if not like cinema as a whole, like that is a role that
Just like defined.
just what actors can achieve by losing themselves in a role. Obviously, he lost himself in that role. And so I think that is so much. Obviously, the movie is great for a lot of reasons, but the Joker is just so undeniable.
Yeah,
in that
every
movie.
scene he's in, you just can't take your eyes off of. Just from the mannerisms, like he I guess there was a his tick he has is because like his makeup was falling off, and not his makeup, something
like the prosthetic.
yeah, prosthetic. So he was like, maybe I should just make this as a tick. So he added this as a tick. Like just every scene.
Wait, what was
Like he's licking his lips.
Yeah,
right?
licking his lips.
Oh.
So like,
Yeah.
and he decided like, I'm just gonna make this a
Yeah.
tick of the Joker, and just like every scene, every line of dialogue, he just crushes it out the park. Each time I watch it, I'm just amazed of just how good of an actor Heath Ledger is as the Joker.
And people did not receive that. I mean, we were too young at the time, but I think remember reading about how people were not happy when he got cast originally. They were
No.
like, "Who's this guy from 10 Things I Hate About You?" Or I guess what was he in before that?
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale,
Brokeback
Brokeback
Mountain.
Mountain. Yeah, these kind of not too intensive roles, and so people were like, "What?" And then he just blows everyone. Got an Oscar for it posthumously. So yeah.
And I mean, everyone talks about the performance. I just think the movie as a whole is a great crime movie, and I think Batman kind of takes the spotlight's not on him, like because it's like the Joker steals every scene, but I still think besides like his voice, I think Christian Bale does a good job as the Batman. But my complaint is with if I had The Dark Knight is it was in my Letterboxd top 4. If I had a complaint, is I don't think Christopher Nolan does hand-to-hand combat very well in these movies.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes back to also just the idea that it's really realistic.
Yeah.
I feel like real life fights are maybe not as exciting as action movie fights.
Yes. But he does
yeah.
do some action scenes in this movie, like the car chase. I think is really good.
I really like Harvey Dent. I feel like his progression from being a district attorney and then his descent into becoming Two-Face, it seems really natural, like the series of events that lead up to it. And I find that pretty convincing, like towards the end, how he's so dedicated to the concept of leaving the things to chance. Makes for a good addition to the movie. Like the Joker probably could have been the standalone villain, but putting Two-Face in it I liked it. I think
I think Aaron Eckhart does a really good job. And there's like so many lines in this movie that are quotable. I think Christopher Nolan, like in the Batman trilogy, just has a lot of lines that are just quotable to this day. Like,
you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
The night is darkest just before the dawn.
It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Where's the Italian?
I'm not the one wearing hockey pants.
That's good. Okay, quote off.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
What do we do when we fall down? We pick ourselves back up.
You want to know how I got these scars?
I'll make this pencil disappear.
Ha, 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 ha. And I thought my jokes were bad.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's all the quotes.
But yeah, great movie.
So after The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan went into the sci-fi realm with Inception in 2010. And Inception is Cobb, a skilled thief who commits a corporate espionage of infiltrating the subconscious of his targets, is offered a chance to regain his old life as payment for a task considered to be impossible. Inception. The implantation of another person's idea into a target's subconscious.
This movie has layers.
I just rewatched it. Did you watch that one this week?
No, I didn't. I've seen Inception a lot. I wish I had time to go back to it, but it was like
2.5 hours.
I kind of, for the time I had, I was like, I'm just going to pick a random movie. I'd choose the number 1 through 6, and Suri picked The Dark Knight, so I watched that instead.
Nice.
And I think a lot can be said about Inception, about Memento, about Tenet, of just like how this, like, Christopher Nolan makes a movie that makes you think.
Oh, yeah.
I think I agree. I think Christopher Nolan, he makes movies that take the film as a medium of art that pushes those boundaries. Mm-hmm. And I think Inception does that. I personally don't think it's a perfect movie. It is not a 5 out of 5 movie for me. I think the story, when you are working with such a convoluted plot, things are going to get convoluted. I think crazy. I think that he does the best that he could to communicate this new idea that people are not familiar with, aren't going to have any sort of reference for. He makes it really accessible, but I think that comes at the cost of some character development, some dialogue not being great. So yeah, I think this movie achieves some really high highs, but it's not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
I don't think I have a problem with that. I think my only problem was I just not a big fan of the relationship between Cobb and his wife.
Maul.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying though. It's just, I think a lot of the characters are just like, there's so many characters. Each one has their own role because it's kind of like a heist movie. So that's kind of cool. But at the same time, they're
no Gene Parmesan.
Exactly. There's just, you don't
get to explore a lot of them.
Yeah. Besides Leonardo DiCaprio's character, which again,
team leader.
If anything, I most appreciated Cillian Murphy's. Cillian Murphy is the person they are trying to inceptionize, plant an idea in his brain, and by the end of the movie, he has the most emotional performance, in my opinion.
I really like the final scene with his dad.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So like, if it had almost like kind of just gone more into that, I don't know how they would have done it, but
they go pretty far into it, don't they?
But I'm saying if they somehow emphasize that one and not as much Leonardo DiCaprio and his wife, I didn't feel that as much as I felt. Maybe it's more because it's man and husband and wife versus father and son. That just does more for me.
Maybe because you're not married yet. Maybe that's why. And you have a father.
Maybe I do have a father. That's true.
He loves you.
Yeah.
And you have a father, and jury's still out on whether or not he's proud of you.
Sorry.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway. But Inception, the hallway scene with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that is probably one of the best action sequences in movie history.
I also really appreciate your Letterboxd review of about Hans Zimmer's time.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer. I mean, he and Christopher Nolan are old friends as far as working together. But yeah, Time is an amazing score in this movie. Really makes the final minute pack a huge punch.
Yeah, and the ending is who knows. It's up to interpretation.
Yeah,
which is some people love it, some people hate it.
Yeah. So
next is he finishes off the Batman trilogy with The Dark Knight Rises. So in 2012, Christopher Nolan came out with Dark Knight Rises, and it is following the death of District Attorney Harvey Dent. Batman assumes responsibility for Dent's crimes to protect the late attorney's reputation and is subsequently. Yep, that's the word. Hunted by the Gotham City's police department. 8 years later, Batman encounters the mysterious Selina Kyle and the villainous Bane, a new terrorist leader who overwhelms Gotham's finest. The Dark Knight resurfaces to protect a city that has branded him an enemy. Yeah, I'm not a fan of The Dark Knight Rises.
Wait, really?
I think it's like kind of
lower tier
Christopher Nolan. I don't think it's like a bad superhero movie, but I'm just...
What rating?
I'll probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5.
Which is like... That's still pretty good, all things considered. But, you know, against his
there's a lot
films.
of good things in this movie. Like the opening scene is really good. I do
I'm
enjoy...
going to crash this plane.
Yeah. What's the Littlefinger? What does he say to Bane? He's like, you're kind of big. And he's like, for you. Something like that. And then I like the opening scene. Like Christopher Nolan can do opening scenes really well. He crafted it really well. I do enjoy Tom Hardy's Bane. Even though in theaters I was like, as a kid, I was like, I have no idea what he's saying.
I would have to say I'm not huge on his Bane. I think Bane from like Batman Arkham Asylum is so cool because he matches Batman's like intellect, but he's also this like hulking beast. And in
which obviously you're not going to get in the Nolan verse.
Right. Well, that's it. In the Nolan movie, he's just a guy.
But in Batman Arkham Asylum, he just is given the Titan serum and just turns big. How does he match Batman's intellect?
Isn't that like canonically he's like
of wherever he's from, like Mexico or something, but
he's super intelligent.
He grew up on the streets, and so his lore is that he is a really strong rival for Batman.
Yeah, but I just don't think they show that in the Arkham Asylum game.
Well,
maybe not.
But he does kind of show that, but then you realize he's kind of like a pawn to Talia al Ghul.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't know. To me, The Dark Knight Rises is just like... I don't know if Nolan felt like he had to finish the story out with a trilogy, but it just seems really skippable in my opinion.
I think there's a lot of conveniences in this movie that just don't make sense. Like,
right.
Bane breaks Batman's back. And let me tell you, I had back surgery, and you can't heal a back that fast, okay? You can't just, like, magically be in a sling and then crack your back, and then 2 months later, I'm climbing out of a hole, and I'm fine, you know?
First time we've heard that.
Do you think Batman also gained 50 pounds after he broke his back?
I mean, if he had quesadillas or Taco Bell, he had
Domino's pizza.
Yeah, Domino's pizza in that hole, he would have gained 50 pounds. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
DoorDash didn't exist in the
hole.
In the hole.
You just throw it down.
Yeah.
There's a queso.
Let me get a picture real quick. Yeah, DoorDash delivered. But also, he gets out of the hole, and then he's magically back in Gotham like 2 days later. It just doesn't make sense. There's a lot of holes. I'm not a big fan of Talia al Ghul. Maybe it's the actress. I don't know.
Marion Cotillard.
And then, I mean, just taking the bomb away at the end. It's just all right. And I don't like how in The Dark Knight, Alfred is like, you'll have to endure. That sounds so bad, Michael Caine.
That sounds just like a racist Asian accent.
I was not trying to do that. He's like, you have to endure as Batman, and like maybe you and Harvey Dent were like, they think Batman's more, and then in the next movie he's like, I don't want you to be Batman.
Yeah,
So,
feels inconsistent.
yep, that's The Dark Knight Rises kind of.
I've only seen it once in high school, so I need to rewatch it. I'm sure I would agree with a lot of what you said, but yeah.
But you've seen this next one because it's
Oh boy, have I seen it.
it's in your top 4. Interstellar, 2014, directed by Christopher Nolan, of course.
Who's that guy?
The adventures of a group of explorers who make us of a newly discovered wormhole to surpass the limitations on human space travel and conquer the vast distance involved in interstellar voyage. I sound like a weird synopsis from Letterboxd, but that is Interstellar. I've only seen this once. So.
Yeah, I've seen
Really?
it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've seen it like 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of talk about this movie and you can talk about why this or that or like makes it great, but like for me, it's just how this movie makes me feel.
I was gonna say the vibes of Interstellar, I think, are
it's
on
one
point.
That in one sense you. Again, like if you're able to follow along with the story, which I think is coherent, it makes you feel smart while you're watching it. But at the same time, you can almost just I don't want to say turn your brain off, but it's like you don't need to know the details of the plot to be like going to other planets, going into a black hole, like exploring this alternate reality. It's just like there is something so I don't know, that just like in the human spirit, you kind of feel that sort of touching that desire to explore, to push the boundaries and everything. And I feel like they execute that flawlessly.
Yeah, and then with the relationship between Matthew McConaughey and his daughter,
Murph.
you see them both across time. Again, you don't necessarily have to understand what's going on at any given moment to understand that, like, here's like a girl who grows up that's longing for her father, but her father is called to something else, and there's just, you can feel the tension there and across time. But then they meet up again at the end,
and then cornfield chase and or No Time for Caution, they're just kind of 2 variations of the same score, come on, and you start breaking down into tears like Matthew McConaughey himself watching video of his daughter. That is a very emotional
And
scene.
I'm about to reenact that scene right now, okay?
Matthew McConaughey's an ugly crier. There's also the I remember when it came out, everyone was talking about the docking scene and how that.
Yeah,
I don't actually remember specifically what that looked like. But
are you talking about when Matt Damon is trying to dock back and like they're trying to like align the spacecraft back,
and it's just
I
think that the music, like,
well, I'm saying it's like there's like this silence of space, but then also the music.
Doesn't the music really like peak? I haven't actually watched it recently, but that one was iconic. And like the whole going down into the one planet and every hour is 7 years.
Something about like some like
is like
drone, like,
just
like for every second that passes
is a year,
or as a year up above.
Yeah, it's just like
it's just everything. I don't know. The movie just it checks all the boxes, and again, like it just.
I like how it gets its happy ending as well. Not every Nolan movie has a happy ending, but it ends with Matthew McConaughey and his daughter reuniting, and then Anne Hathaway's character goes through the wormhole, but she finds her husband, doesn't she?
I've only seen it once. I don't remember.
She does. Matthew McConaughey goes through the wormhole. They said black hole. Like I said, the details are a little fuzzy, but it gives me the warm fuzzies.
Yeah, I like a movie that has a happy ending.
I've only seen it once, but I just remember that it left a big impact on me. That I was like, this movie's great, and I've been holding off because they said they're releasing it into theaters to watch it in theaters. So I really am excited for that second viewing.
Yeah, we're trying to watch it in theaters later this year. So that's that.
So in 2017, Christopher Nolan entered the war film genre with Dunkirk. So the story of a miraculous evacuation of Allied soldiers from Belgium, Britain, Canada, and France who were cut off and surrounded by the German army from the beaches and harbor of Dunkirk between May 26th and June 4th, 1940 during World War II.
This is the only one that I have not seen.
It is a good movie. Doesn't hold a candle to Nolan's other work.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I do think there's some kind of like negatives to this movie. It's like you don't really... It's hard to connect to some of these characters because you're not given names. You don't like get backstory. You're like kind of just thrown in to this world.
Which is obviously intentional, but at the same time... And yeah, a lot of them just don't talk. Like, there's very little dialogue in the movie, but then when there is dialogue, Riley and I watched this earlier this week, you can't understand their British accents.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. I think Christopher Nolan has had a problem with like music and dialogue.
Yeah.
And, like sometimes the music drowns out the dialogue, and I'm just like, what are you saying?
Yeah. The music in this movie is really good.
Yeah.
I think it's Hans Zimmer again, maybe. I'm not sure. It feels almost like sci-fi music.
Yeah.
Just just kind of like
Like an alarm clock?
me. Yeah, just it kind of to create the sense of tension, but I don't know. It and it's not just like a cut and dry film. He still does his creative spin where he has like three different stories across time happening, which was cool. A little confusing at first for me,
but then I think if you rewatch it again, you'll pick up things.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think it's bad, but like you said, it doesn't hold a candle to other Nolan movies. But I still think it's good.
It's definitely good, definitely worth watching, especially
well
like
made.
Dunkirk. Like it's based off a true story. It does kind of give you a glimpse into something that actually took place, this actual loss of life, but also saving hundreds of thousands of lives. So it's cool in that regard as well.
How do you feel about the Harry Styles casting?
His character, we were talking, like, again, he doesn't really talk, but then they kind of get into this weird scuffle with another character, and it's like, I just don't think it lands.
Yeah,
I mean, his casting is fine. He's a fine actor.
Yeah, I don't think he does bad. I do think there's a casting in this movie that he kind of feels wasted.
Tom Hardy.
No.
Really? He's just wearing a mask the whole time.
Well, he just wears a mask.
That's him in The Dark Knight Rises.
That's him for part of Mad Max Fury Road. he likes masks, okay?
What casting?
Barry Keoghan.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think he's really.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
That is Dunkirk. Next, Christopher Nolan in 2020.
Second to last movie as well.
Yep. This is it came out during COVID. This is Tenet. So, armed with one word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world, the protagonist journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time. I'm a fan of Tenet.
I just watched it last night for the first time, and I have so many questions, which I know I'm not alone
Did
in
you
that.
look up the answers to the questions?
No. I'm going to watch it again sometime, and I know you have thoughts, and that's fine to share them, but I know that this movie benefits from a second or third rewatch, but on the first watch, it is so confusing to its own downfall.
I think, like Inception and Tenet, there's a lot of talking about exposition of what this movie is.
It's a lot of exposition through dialogue.
Setting up... You're working from a new set of rules, so you have to make sure the rules are explained. But there's no real streamlined way to do that. You pretty much have to just be like, this is how these physics operate.
Yeah, John David Washington is like, so you mean these bullets are inverted?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think, to me, I don't have a problem with that, because I think the movie, like, the execution is so well, like, it's new. I just really enjoy the different aspect, like, they're going for something new. He's pushing the barriers, like you said earlier, that I don't mind when they're explaining things. And even though, like, the first time watching, I'm like, I don't really understand, but like each time I watch this movie, I'm gaining something new, something enjoyable that I'm like, wow.
Do you feel like after watching it for a third time, you have a relatively firm grasp on the series of events?
Yeah, I think it's hard to understand all the time loops that are happening, but I have a firm grasp of what the story is, and I just learned something new which this I didn't learn after watching the third. I looked something up and they said this. I'm like, there's no way. I didn't know that. And now it makes me enjoy the movie even more. You find out at the beginning in the movie, the opening scene, there's a guy who saves the protagonist, John David Washington's character, and that's Robert Pattinson because he has the keychain on the back.
Okay, yeah.
Saves him at the opera?
Yep. So, but you find they are implying at the end of the movie that Neil is also Kate's son, Max.
I don't remember. Is Kate the girl who dives off the side of the
I think
ship?
I think her name's Kate. Yeah.
I don't remember the details.
So Kat's son Max is actually Neil from the future.
This whole, and that's cool, and I'd have to learn how that makes sense. But I don't understand how the opening scene in the opera plays into the movie as a whole. Because there's time, they go back in time.
So he's working for the CIA, the protagonist, at the beginning of the movie, and then he gets kidnapped, and then it's a test for him to join the Tenet agency.
And he passes.
Yes. So
Did they say they pulled his teeth out?
Yeah.
But don't worry. We put your teeth back in.
Basically, in Tenet, there is they mentioned this in the movie, which I thought was cool. Oppenheimer in the future, they create a device that will end the world.
Right.
And they send it back. They invert it back in time, and they separate it. Like there's like 7 pieces.
Right.
And then Kenneth Branagh's character finds those pieces, and because he finds he digs it up, he gets cancer, and like it shows with him and Kat that if no one can have you. If I can't have you, no one has you. And then with his cancer, he's gonna die. So he's like, if I'm gonna die, everyone's gonna die.
I mean, I understand that much.
Yeah, but there's just a lot of loops.
Do you think Christopher Nolan is sitting there writing the script and he's like, this makes perfect sense to me?
Done it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've achieved the next level of storytelling. Or do you think he's sitting there and he's like, I sure hope everyone understands my movie?
No, I think the former rather than the latter. I think Christopher Nolan, I think, is just very intelligent, very with storytelling that he, based off his other works, that he just knows how to write a story, even if it's that complex.
Which is cool, and I admire him, and that's why I want to watch it again, because I like the feel of the movie, and it's a movie that I want to like, but it was just so confusing on the first view that I just I can't fully appreciate this movie if I don't really understand what has happened.
That's Tenet. I think it's good.
I think it's good as well.
Last movie coming out last year, won a lot of Oscars, is Oppenheimer. So the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer role in the development of the atomic bomb during World War II. Let me tell you, this movie is fantastic.
After we watched it all together back in January, and it was like a really good movie. And I give 4.5 stars. And I think I said this last episode. But then you just I noticed myself. I was just like, man, I'm still thinking about this movie. Mm-hmm. It's like this movie is sticking with me, and so I'm like, this really is a 5-star movie. And then I brought it up with our father. We were sitting at dinner, and I was just like, isn't it crazy how like a movie, it can hit in one way when you finish it the first time, but then like you find yourself just thinking about it hours and days later, and how movies can just stick with you like that. And our dad, in all sincerity, was just like, kind of like a good hot dish. And I was just like, this man is not listening to a word I've said. But that was his way of relating. But yeah, it's just this idea that like, I don't know, more than I would say along the lines of Interstellar. It's like, that's the feeling I get. Like Oppenheimer is just like, it sticks with you. And that's the performances, the music, the scope of the project in the movie.
Lots of time jumps as well.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
And watching this again for the third time last night, I think this movie is just crafted from top to bottom. It's excellent. And I think the ending, the last 20 minutes to me, like with the courtroom hearings and then Robert Downey Jr.'s character Strauss, Like how it unravels. I just think it's perfect. And then the ending shot with it just on Cillian Murphy's face I'm telling you, it's probably up there as like one of my favorite endings of a movie.
What would you say to people who said Barbie's better?
I mean, you can have your opinion, but I do think like Barbie is a fun movie, but I think Oppenheimer is a movie that's going to stand the test of time of just how a film should be made. I think like the cast from top to bottom, each time you watch it, you're like, there's that person.
I loved it when we watched it for the first time, and I knew that this was a star-studded cast, but because this is a long movie, 3 hours, as the movie kept going on, they were like, oh, here's Matt Damon, here's Casey Affleck, here's Rami Malek,
here's Gary Oldman.
Here's
Alden Ehrenreich from Solo.
There you go. Great. We're going to talk about Solo every episode. David, Dalmatian, whatever his name is.
That's Malshin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh,
Josh Hartnett,
Josh Beck. Nuclear. Yeah, there's just it was just funny because
Jack Quaid. That's not his name.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just watching. I was just like, he's in this too. She's in this too. Like it was just like fun.
The guy who played is it Roderick from Diary of a Kid?
Yep.
The guy who played the main character in Sky High. He's in this movie.
Yep.
Alex Wolff from Hereditary. So many people, and I think
Safdie, Benny Safdie.
Yeah, I think they all do a fantastic job. Like Cillian Murphy deserved the Oscar. Robert Downey Jr. deserved the Oscar. I think Jason Clarke could have been nominated. He is really good in that movie.
He's in the
he's like
final,
the interrogator,
or
like he's on the opposite side of the
he was really good.
And
I think Robert Downey Jr. is that man can act. Like just him, I don't know, him just like thinking like he's got everything made at the end and thinking he's better than everyone. Like he just portrays that really well.
And then Rami Malek just pulls the rug out from under him.
And then Alden Ehrenreich was like, maybe they weren't talking about you.
Yeah. Or maybe they're talking about something more important.
Yeah. Your Letterboxd review is like what I say to Riley when we're walking by people and he thinks they're talking about JJK.
Yeah.
So, the movie is, I honestly, we'll get our ranking, but I think this is like Christopher Nolan's like, maybe he might be his masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know. He's obviously the kind of guy that tries to push the boundaries of cinema, but I feel like he would say that I can almost to the point where like I can retire now. Like this is my peak, my magnum opus.
It won him a directing Oscar because he hasn't won one for any other movie, which is crazy. It's a fantastic film, and you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's really good.
It is pretty good.
So now we're gonna do our quick rankings.
Yeah,
real quick.
Very. That's Christopher Nolan's filmography, and I suppose we have to rank it to.
So
to send us off.
do we want like each of us just give our tier list, or we want to? Okay, I could start. So number 12 is Following. Number 11 is Insomnia. Number 10 is The Dark Knight Rises. Number 9 is Dunkirk. Number 8 is Memento. Number 7 is The Prestige. Number 6 is Tenet. Number 5 is Interstellar. Number 4 is Batman Begins. Number 3 is Inception. Number 2 is Oppenheimer. And number 1 is The Dark Knight.
Putting Batman Begins above Interstellar is criminal.
I love the Batman Begins, and I've only seen Interstellar once. And also this list could change. Like when we go see Interstellar in the movies, who knows? Maybe Interstellar's number 3.
Yeah, I'll go next. So I haven't seen Dunkirk, so it's my 11 movies here. Number 11, I have Following. And number 10, I have Insomnia. Number 9, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 8, Tenet. Number 7, Batman Begins. Number 6, Memento. Number 5, Inception. Number 4, The Dark Knight. Number 3, The Prestige. Number 2, Oppenheimer. And number 1, Interstellar.
Yeah, very similar list. So
are you flexing your fingers, or are you doing the?
No. My thumb's been like numb this whole episode, so I'm just trying to like.
You get that checked out.
So again, I've not seen Following or Insomnia. So I got 10 movies. Number 10, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 9, Dunkirk. Number 8, Tenet. could move up when I rewatch it. 7, Batman Begins. 6, Inception. 5, Memento. 4, The Prestige. 3, The Dark Knight. 2, Oppenheimer, and 1, Interstellar.
You read your list wrong.
No, I originally wrote down 3, Oppenheimer, 2, Dark Knight, but we were talking about it, and I'm like, I gotta give this movie the respect it deserves. So Oppenheimer's 2.
That is our Christopher Nolan ranking.
He's a good guy. I wonder, does he have any projects like slated for the next couple years?
I am not sure. You have to look that up.
I haven't heard anything.
But let us know what your favorite Christopher Nolan is, and if you want to see us do another ranking of a director, let us know.
I could see us doing one for Tarantino.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of films in his filmography, so it's like we could watch those and do this again if the people had fun with this one.
Yeah. Just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, this is our new segment called 3 Strikes and You're Out.
Is that like from baseball?
Yep, I'm baseball. Like
Nice.
you guys played in.
Kickball,
T-ball.
Ball.
This is 3 rounds. If you get 3 strikes, then you're out for the round, and you all get points for each answer you get right. We're going to decide. Okay, you get to decide if you want to go first or second.
First.
Okay, you go first.
Second.
But then next round, no one goes first.
First.
Okay? So do you want to go first or second this round?
Second.
Okay.
First round.
Okay. And you get points for each correct answer, but it's an order. You're going in order. So if you don't get the right answer to the first one, it goes to Josiah. Okay. And then you keep going back and forth until you have 3 strikes, and then you're out. Does that make sense?
We'll just have to get into it.
So you're gonna have to put it in order from the highest ranking to the lowest rating of Christopher Nolan movies in order from Letterboxd. So what is the number 1 movie in Letterboxd?
Like based off of
The average rating.
Okay. I would say Oppenheimer.
That is 1X for Noah.
So now it goes to me.
Yep.
The Dark Knight.
That is correct. Josiah gets a point.
Let's go.
Then you get to go again, Josiah. What's number 2?
Oppenheimer.
That is 1X for Josiah.
Really?
Interstellar.
That is 1 point for Noah. Number 3.
Oppenheimer.
That is another point for Noah.
No point. Like,
Number 4.
You also have a good chance because a couple of these have the same score.
Okay. Number 4, Inception.
That is correct. Another point for Noah.
After Inception, Memento.
That's another point for Noah.
I love this game. After that, I would say the Prestige,
That's another point for Noah.
and then I would say,
this game is rigged.
and then I would
Number
say
7.
Batman Begins,
That's another point for Noah. Wow.
and then this is going to be a little trickier. After Batman Begins, I'm going to say The Dark Knight Rises.
That is X for Noah. 2 X's. Josiah.
He sucks. I would say Tenet.
That is a second X for Josiah.
What?
Okay, I'm going to say Dunkirk.
That is a point for Noah.
Oh my gosh.
And then after Dunkirk, it's going to be The Dark Knight Rises.
That's another point for Noah.
And then after The Dark Knight Rises, it's Tenet.
That's a third X for Noah.
Then it has to be Insomnia,
Yep. That's 2 points so far for Josiah.
and then Tenet.
That's the third X for Josiah.
Then
It goes following, and then Tenet has the least at
Wow.
3.4. Okay.
That's crazy.
So you went second, or you went first? You went second this round.
I went second.
So you get to go first this round.
Let's go.
Okay. You go first. So this is from highest to lowest.
Wait, Noah went first that round.
Yeah. I mean, you go first this round.
Okay.
You
So-
looked at me and pointed at me and
So
said,
you
you're
get
first.
you get to keep on adding your points. So
Okay.
Noah has 8. You have 3. This is from the highest to lowest, and you can earn some bonus points too, of Christopher Nolan's collaborators. Who has collaborated most with Christopher Nolan to the least?
How many are there?
There are 12.
By collaborators, do you mean actors, or is it also producers?
Maybe.
Composers? Okay. I have to get the top one.
Yep.
I'm going to say Michael Caine.
That is a point for Josiah.
And then I will say Cillian Murphy.
That is a second point for Josiah.
Okay, well, but they're not all actors.
Well, just give me actors, but you also have bonus points too.
Okay. Okay. Actors. Tom Hardy.
That is 1 X for Josiah.
Are the non-actors purely bonus points?
Durr.
Yep.
Hans Zimmer?
Yep, that's a bonus point for Noah.
I could. You said just actors.
Just actors, fine. Just actors now.
Okay, so now we're going back and saying...
Yeah, just actors.
I started to say Hans Zimmer and you didn't say anything.
I didn't hear that. Okay, sorry. No,
I heard
no
it.
bonus points. I
mean-
take the bonus points away.
This game is rigged. Gary Oldman?
That's a point for Noah.
Tom Hardy?
That's an X for Noah.
Christian Bale.
That's a point for Josiah.
Tom Hardy.
That's a point for Josiah. This is your 6th actor.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's an X for Josiah.
Mm,
Oh, I know. Who? Adam Sandler.
3, 2, 1.
I don't know.
That's an X for Noah.
Right, I guess I said I don't know. Kenneth Branagh.
That's a point for Josiah.
Wait, what? Oh, was he in Dunkirk?
Yeah.
What else was he in?
Tenet and Oppenheimer.
Oh, he was in Oppenheimer.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's an X for Josiah.
That's 3, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it's just me then.
Yep. You're looking for an actor that has 3.
Oh.
You can't give him a hint like
Oh,
that.
sorry.
I didn't get a hint.
Let's go. I don't know if it
3,
is going to change anything.
2,
Oh, who's in all 3 Batman movies?
1.
I don't know.
X. Morgan Freeman.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I was on
Okay.
the right track. What's the standings?
Standings right now is Josiah has 8 and you have 9.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So this is a not Christopher Nolan one, but it's a fun one. So 8 and 9. Okay. This is our club. We started a movie club called Long Island and Destiny. Like Long Island. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah.
You pronounce it Long Island iced tea. So you pronounce it the same way you pronounce Long Island iced tea.
Okay, my bad.
What did you say? Long Island Destiny?
Maybe. This is our first form, but we each picked a movie, and you have to go in order of what each movie. 3 strikes and you're out. If you get it right,
That's a good idea.
So
So Noah starts.
Noah starts. What is the first movie we watched?
Inside Llewyn Davis.
That's an X for Noah.
I think it was Heat.
That's a point for Josiah.
I know
What's the
this.
second
Heat. Was it Southpaw?
Yep, that's another point for Josiah.
And then I think it was Punch Drunk Love.
That's the 3rd point for Josiah.
And so Punch Drunk Love was my pick. Southpaw was Noah's pick. So it would be your pick, I think. But I don't know. Inside Llewyn Davis.
That's another point for
Yes,
Josiah.
go.
So that would have been Noah's pick. You picked Southpaw. I'm lost at this point though. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That's another point
Let's
for
go.
Josiah.
Oh gosh.
Then it would be
You're on-
mine.
You're on 6 pick.
It might have been. I think this is wrong, but I'm going to go with it. The Ballad of Buster
That's
Scruggs.
another point for Josiah.
Oh, okay. I'm
Number 7.
I don't think I have anything at this point. This is 2019, January, February
I'll
time.
give you a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I don't got anything.
That's the first X for Josiah. Noah, number 7.
I don't know.
Movie.
I know if it's Riley's pick, then I don't know. I think I know my pick after that.
Gonna have to give you a countdown. Here.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
5, 4, 3, 2,
I don't know.
1. That's a second X for.
So now that we both missed that one, can you say that one and we just move on to the next one?
If you guys want that.
Sure.
Yeah.
The Social Network.
Okay.
Okay, what is the 8th movie?
That doesn't help. I think I got all my points. I can't think of another one. So Shrugs. I know eventually we watched.
Oh, I forgot to do that. Shoot. Oops. Oh well.
Oh.
I was supposed to give you guys 3 hints throughout the whole game. That was my bad. Like you can use any hint at any time.
Okay. Well, I guess we're on. It'd be.
Do you guys want a hint?
Well, wait. This is
No.
unfair to me.
Okay.
Yes, I want a hint.
Well, you have the points. When we get to know,
my
I'll
gosh,
give
this
him
is
the
a
point.
pity party.
Let's go.
I'll say Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
That is an X.
That's
for
my pick. So I have to. Social Network was
So it
your
was
pick.
my
That was
pick.
Noah's pick.
So
I wish. No, I think I know it.
okay,
But I hope I'm not watching the title. Is it?
okay, you don't know it then.
Okay. I don't know it.
It's a scary movie.
The Silence of the Lambs.
That's a third X for Noah.
Third X.
Yeah,
This is my second.
you started.
No, it was. Oh, bummer.
A horror
And
movie.
You're out.
Let's see what horror movie.
Well, you won.
Insidious.
Oh, yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, but I still get more points here.
Yep.
Insidious. That wasn't that year. A scary movie. Hereditary.
Correct. That's another point for Josiah.
And then Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
That's correct. That's another point for Josiah.
And then it would be your pick.
This is a tough one. If you get this,
Do I
I'm
get a
gonna
hint?
press.
Don't get a hint.
Okay. It's a.
Just give me the genre.
It kind of has 2 genres, but I'll give you one of them. War.
Overlord.
Yep,
Overlord, and then we watched.
that's correct.
That was Noah's. Hereditary, Overlord. Then it would have been Legion.
That's correct.
Then it would have been the Zac Efron as what's John Malkovich
Extremely evil, shockingly vile.
Just help him
extremely
out now.
yeah
Well, I lost.
and unspeakably cruel.
Extremely wicked and shockingly evil and vile.
Okay.
Kind of a mouthful.
Okay.
for a
Well,
title.
I'll take the L at that one. But then
Where does the Dark Crystal fit into this?
I was going to say Dark Crystal was
That's
And
2 more. So you have
Primal Fear was after that.
Annihilation, The Dark Crystal, Fargo, Primal Fear, Gattaca, Minority Report, In Bruges, 7 Psychopaths, Time Traveler's Wife, Eat, Pray, Love, As Good as It Gets, The Fanatic, Insidious, and can you guys get the last 2?
The Adam Project.
Nope.
no, it was Rango.
Warrior and then Rango. That was the first iteration of our...
Where does? Oh, and then we took a hiatus, and
Yeah.
then the Adam Project was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the hiatus lasted for one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Oh.
3 strikes and you're out.
What a trip
And
down
the
memory
winner
lane.
of it was Josiah.
Let's go. I knew studying that list
Fun
would pay off
game.
eventually.
I guess we can go ahead and move into the trivia round of the episode. Go ahead and crucify me in the comments. I forgot to tease the theme for this week last week.
Leave some tomato emojis in the comments. Throw them at Noah.
Tomato, fruit or vegetable. So everyone except me is coming into this blind. So the theme is Disney's golden age, but more specifically the 90s. Disney from the 90s.
Okay.
You're dead.
I try to make these rather specific, but I do think Josiah probably has an edge here.
This is an uphill battle.
Okay. So we have 5 questions and a bonus question, because I like bonus questions. So question number 1. Wait, can we get a buzzer check real quick?
Me.
Okay, they're still working good. Question number 1. When Hercules first encounters Megara on the road to Thebes, he saves her from Nessus. which is this type of Greek mythological creature? Josiah.
A gorgon.
False. Or incorrect. I don't know why I said false. Incorrect. Riley, do you have an answer?
Beep.
Yes, Riley.
Sphinx.
Incorrect. That's Egyptian. He is a centaur.
Oh, shoot.
Question number 2. When Mulan arrives at the training camp, Mushu suggests she call herself Ling. However, since that name was already taken, she goes by this name instead.
Beep.
Josiah.
Ping.
Correct. 1 point for Josiah. Question number 3. Through the song One Jump Ahead, Aladdin reveals he has his own set of moral boundaries when it comes to thievery, singing he only steals what?
Beep.
Riley.
Bread.
Incorrect. That's not the the answer that I have.
Beep.
Josiah.
Only what he can't afford. I steal only what I can afford. That's everything.
Correct. You originally said only what he can't afford. But then you corrected yourself when you sang it.
Wait, what did I say?
You said only what he can't afford, but then you sang it and you said only what he can afford, which is the right answer.
I steal only what I can't afford.
What I can afford.
Why would you steal something that you can afford? He steals what he can't afford.
If we can just go to Google real quick.
I think just has
This
it
trivia's
right here.
falling apart.
One jump ahead of
I know that song.
One
One
swing
swing ahead of the sword.
two. Why would he? That's it's getting hot in here.
One jump ahead of the bread line. Bread.
One jump ahead of the bread. Okay. Okay, so that is 2 points for Josiah. Question number 4. When Pocahontas and John Smith first meet, he tells her the English have arrived in hopes of finding gold. Misunderstanding him, Pocahontas holds up this, telling him they have lots of gold. Josiah.
Maize, a.k.a. corn.
Correct.
This trivia is rigged.
3 points Josiah, 0 points Riley. Question number 5. Young Tarzan, wanting to fit in with the rest of the gorillas, risks it all when Turk challenges him to bring back one of these. Young Tarzan, wanting to fit in with the rest of the gorillas. Josiah.
An elephant. An elephant cub.
Incorrect. I don't think they're called cubs.
Is that what's keeping me from getting the right answer?
No.
Okay.
Riley?
Oh.
3, 2.
Elephant poop.
Incorrect.
Are you trying?
I haven't seen these movies in like 10 years, okay?
I haven't either.
An elephant hair.
Oh. I was going to change my answer to a
You were close
rhinoceros.
because he steals it from the elephant's tail, which is close to their butt.
I apologize.
Yeah, you better be.
I'm still gonna
Okay,
beat
so
you.
that's Josiah 3, Riley 0. So Josiah wins. We can, however, move into the bonus question, which I feel like is maybe a little more fair. Bonus question. Simba, Mufasa, and Scar are the 3 central characters of The Lion King. Name the voice actors for all 3 characters.
Me.
Josiah.
James Earl Jones is Mufasa. Scar is Jeremy Irons, and Simba, Matthew Broderick.
That is correct.
I knew that.
At first, I was
buddy.
like, Kid Simba. I was like, who knows that? But actually, isn't Kid
James
Simba
Arnold
the
too.
Kid from
Home Improvement?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever his name is. Nice.
That's it. So winner of trivia this week is Josiah. I bet he's feeling pretty good about himself right now.
Maybe bring your A game next time.
Okay, is it my turn to do trivia next week?
Yes. Would you like to hint at what the topic will be?
Scores and soundtracks.
Ooh.
Okay.
That will be very interesting.
Get ready. It's going to be a doozy.
Have I lost trivia yet? I don't think I have. It's getting lonely up here at the
Didn't
top.
I win trivia the first week?
Yeah, against Riley. Or no, that would be the second week. I won it the first week.
I won it last week. Should we put some stakes on trivia?
I think if we do stakes, it should be like cumulative.
Yeah. We'll do
Like you get like one punch to the
no,
to the shoulder or
if
something?
like whoever has the most after 2 months or like 10 episodes gets to choose a movie for each loser to watch. It could be good or bad.
Sure.
Starting now or starting at the beginning? Because I'm going to be having a nice lead.
Starting
Actually,
now.
Let's start at the beginning. Unless you don't got
Starting
the cojones.
See, this is episode 6.
Yeah.
So we have 4 more after this.
Till
Yeah.
what?
And I've won 1. You've won.
3 at least.
I won 1.
And then
Okay.
I won 4. I won the first one. I won Pixar. I won Marvel.
Then you're going to probably win. I don't think there's a mathematically, if we do 10,
Okay, well, starting now then. But
Okay.
then I get to count this win.
fine.
Yippee!
We'll do, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Anyways, let us know what you think. Did you like this episode? Hit like, subscribe.
Let us know your favorite Christopher Nolan movie. And
Tune in next week.
tune in next week. Later.
Peace out.
Bye.